Stephen A., I'll start with you. What should he do? Should he keep fighting?
No. I've been on the record about this for weeks, and it has nothing to do with his guilt or innocence. I'm in no position to proclaim his guilt or innocence. I think it was wrong for the NFL to try to deduce that. Their investigation essentially came up with the notion that it's more probable than not that he was guilty of domestic violence. I don't think that the NFL should be in the business of trying to determine one's guilt or innocence with criminal activity. That's what law enforcement officials are for, and our judicial system is for. I think that the NFL is excessive with that. Having said all of that, I do believe it's perfectly within their right to say you've impugned the integrity of the National Football League by involving yourself or having yourself involved in this situation. And as a result of that alone, we are suspending you. Period. They have a right to do that when it comes to their brand. And if they had left it that simple, I don't think it would be complicated at all. But the thing that I've been on the record about, Ryan and Max will know this, Ryan, I've been on the record about this religiously. You don't win if you're Ezekiel Elliott as long as this case is being fought, because your name is in the news related to domestic violence. Tom Brady could fight till the cows come home. It's deflated footballs. That's it. I mean, you know, you could try to talk about he cheated or he didn't cheat or whatever, and we got all into the technicalities of football being inflated or deflated and the pressure on the football and all of that other stuff. At the end of the day, he can walk in the streets, he can be with his family, his children, and everybody else, and you got no problem inviting him to dinner because he's not considered a criminal. But if you are somebody that's been associated with domestic violence, because last July 17th, 19th, and 21st of 2016, you were involved in 5 separate incidences that involved domestic violence. And this is what the NFL has revealed with its investigation and its written report. You can't skirt around that. So the more that we talk about Ezekiel Elliott, the more we're talking about domestic violence. And in the end, he does not win when that happens, particularly being a young black man that's a professional athlete, as stellar as he is, in a world where people are looking at a lot of these athletes, black, white, and beyond, and saying they're privileged, they think they could get away with anything, blah, 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 blah. When that kind of stuff happens, and you're in the news for this reason, it doesn't benefit you in the end, because your name is the one name that's headlined associated with domestic violence. That's why I think he should just walk away, get it over with, and move on with his life.
Stephen A., Ryan, Stephen A., we've had this argument before. We've had this debate before. And I think you make a fine distinction between why Brady's fight was not damaging to him in the same way that Ezekiel's fight will be damaging to Ezekiel Elliott. And I get it. I think it's a very good point. That's why when we have this debate, I bring up the definition of dilemma, which people use colloquially as meaning just a tough choice, when in fact what it means is a choice between 2 bad options. So I am here conceding that neither option for Ezekiel Elliott is great. And that's one of the problems, as you said, the NFL getting in the kind of law enforcement business. That's one of the problems. They have a different standard for guilt, and they've lowered it. They said, we just think that the preponderance of the evidence suggests that it's more likely than not that you did it. That's good enough for us. 49% is good enough for us. And so once they suspend you for that, that's hanging on your name. I mean, that's all there is. So he's in a bad situation. None of his options are good ones for the reasons you pointed out. But I want to make again the case why I think the option for him is best to continue to fight. First of all, he's fought this long. Why stop now? But right. So like get that out of the way. I don't understand the logic in that. If you've already made this kind of fight, why now come out, as you said, and make a press conference and say, you know, we're moving on? In that case, don't appeal it at all to this point. But I think the big picture here is that you need to give the impression, you need to show people that you've done every single thing in your power to clear your name. By the way, Stephen A., we all agree about this. If he's innocent, if he's guilty, take your punishment and be happy that that's all you got, because you committed a crime in that case. You're a criminal, and it's a bad one. Be happy that that's all you got. But if you're innocent, then to have that hanging over your head, Ezekiel Elliott's, that's your name. A name is something you get from your parents, and you're going to pass on to your kids. It's a reflection of your parents, whether people like it or not, and you're going to hand it to your children. Ezekiel Elliott's mother and father played collegiate sports. He had a grandparent who played collegiate sports. He comes from a line of this, and he's going to hand his name to his kids eventually. And he's even said it since we've been discussing this, the importance of his name and clearing it. So I don't know. You're right. It's not good. His name will be connected to domestic violence if he continues to appeal. He has one appeal left. But I don't see why that is not the best choice. I think among bad options, the best one is to continue, if you're innocent, continue to fight to clear your name.